Hello, everyone, and welcome to Director Watch, an AwardsWatch podcast that attempts to get inside the mind of cinema's greatest auteurs, explore what drives them, and maybe we go on a few unrelated tangents along the way. I'm Ryan McQuade, the executive editor here at AwardsWatch. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jay Ledbetter.
Thank you so much, Ryan. And just for the record, moving forward, I would like to be introduced by my title. I am a writer. I am a doctor, a nuclear physicist, and a theoretical philosopher. But above all, I am a podcaster, a hopelessly inquisitive podcaster,
Exactly.
just like you, my friend.
Oh.
And that, of course, means that we're talking about the master.
Yes.
The master.
Yeah.
I mean, we knocked out the big one with There Will Be Blood, I guess, but this is right on its heels for one of the big ones.
They're all pretty big going forward.
They are pretty big and going backward, except Part 8. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one where you're like...
Which is why we got the PTA expert for that one to talk about a bunch of other stuff other than Part 8.
Exactly. Thanks again to Ethan for that one. That was
the best.
Such a great episode. And today, you know, we had to bring in, I think, the biggest guns we could. We had to bring in our own Lancaster Dodd.
That was World War II cannons.
We had to get him away from the typewriter. He was writing the second book. It's, of course, our editor-in-chief, Erik Anderson. Welcome back to Director Watch.
You can just call me Pig Fuck.
Well, welcome to the show, Pig Fuck.
Yes.
No, actually, sorry. Pig Fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, yes. That I did not have the right emphasis on
that delivery
right
is
syllable.
Yeah, that's a good delivery.
I think just the reaction.
That was a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
he's passed away, Jay. I want you to know that.
He's in the Cormac McCarthy zone?
Yes, exactly. Because you couldn't remember that on the last episode. So I just want you to be clear on that going forward here up at the front.
How do you not watch a film with Philip Seymour Hoffman and not be constantly reminded that we do not have him anymore?
Yeah, well, I had forgotten how soon after this he died. It's been a decade now.
Yes.
Just about, almost.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Sad.
It was so abrupt. It was so quick because it was right after this and he had the Oscar nom, and I was like, man, this is like an all-time performance from him. And you're just like, holy shit, him and PTA, they're going into the new era and going to probably keep making movies. Because he took a film off for There Will Be Blood, but he was in 4 in a row, right?
No, it really was like, it's so awesome that PTA and PSH are going to be making movies for the next 30 years, 40 years.
And then tragically not anymore. Yeah. But it's every time I watch it, it's such a, he's so good. The minute you see Freddie come into the, to the, I guess his like quarters, and you see him in that red robe, you're like, oh shit, this movie's about to go down. Because it's all been just Freddie's journey up into that point to get there. And then you're like, oh yeah, we're in the front of the master right now. This is going to be awesome. So,
or is he?
You never know. Who is the master? That's going to be a question we answer today. A bunch of other questions.
Who masters the master?
Yeah. Who is the master of the master of the master?
Who is the master of puppets?
Yeah.
Metallica, circa 19.
Who's the master of debaters?
80 something.
Who's the great debater? Denzel Washington, 2007, when There Will Be Blood came out. There you go.
You were not kidding about the tangent part.
Yeah. Welcome back to Director Watch, Erik. It's been a while.
It has been.
Erik, I've been asking all of our guests up at the front, but
stinks that Erik hasn't been listening. That's
what a dick. Oh my! You can say that to the boss, but I've been asking all the guests right up at the top of the show. I want to ask you your relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson. Do you remember the first time you saw his movie in a theater, or just in general? Maybe it was at home, video store, maybe, because you were a video store guy.
It's a very complicated relationship. If you've seen Licorice Pizza, it's pretty close to that. No, it's no. Yes,
you like peanut butter sandwiches? Is that what you're saying?
No comment.
Erik, Alana Anderson.
There you go.
It's really close if you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in my video store days. That was my 90s. And so, yeah, we had actually, I say we as like a collective group of
You owned the store. You
film
fired
nerds
everyone when it was
and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw Hard Eight first.
Yeah.
And
That makes sense.
Cigarettes and Coffee. So this was, you know, also the same time that Tarantino was coming up, and the early and mid 90s were like so huge for these guys.
Yeah.
So it was kind of great being right at the beginning of it, because they were extremely young. We were extremely young, and it was pre most internet. So we only kind of had ourselves to talk amongst and about, and what possibility that this 3 named dude was going to have, and how pretentious is that. But hey, I think he kind of did pretty good for himself. He's kind of good with the movie camera. But yeah, it's Hard Eight came first. Boogie Nights obviously blew up, exploded, and especially for our knowledge and affection of him. But yeah, here we are in 2012 now with The Master. Should I just go into The Masters, or do you really want me to talk about Paul Thomas
Well,
Anderson
we can talk about it, but I just have one question up top. Is Erik the Lancaster Dodd of AwardsWatch? Is that a safe?
You know, I think so.
And does that make Ryan the Freddie Quell?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, we have wrestled.
No, Ryan is actually pig fuck in this, because
fuck you,
pig fuck. Because when you question me and start asking for clarification and facts, I will absolutely end you and have you removed.
I'm actually more Amy Adams. I actually run the joint. That's
more than I needed to know about y'all's relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just going to say, we are going to back that up.
I mean, we have shared.
Speaking of master debating,
a bed a couple times, and you know what happens in Telluride stays in Telluride. It's a real poster in your room says a lot. A real Brokeback Mountain sort of.
This is way more information than.
Well, you know what, Eric? It's about time we told the listeners the truth, and I just don't want to live in a lie anymore. It's just, you know, you got to stop it. It's you know, it's part of the process.
I'm the Rami Malek.
I was totally going to call you the Rami. Yeah, just you would call Erik Papa or Father or whatever the hell he fucking calls him.
Yeah,
no, actually, I'm not. No, I'm more of the Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, you are. Nah, you know what? You would want to just keep Plemons. Plemons is cool in this movie. He's just like,
he's awesome.
Plemons is great. Skinny Plemons, just saying like he's full of shit. He's just making it up as he goes along. I'm
gonna
ride his coattails.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna be like, you know what? I didn't make any money. Let me just go along with the charade at the end.
Yeah, see, that's basically like all of my editors and writers.
There you go. We're all Plemons.
Just gonna go. You're all Plemons here.
Is Plemons like got the smartest agent, or is he just like the smartest man in the world right now? Because he just always finds a way to get in movies that are going to get nominated for Best Picture or be a part of the cultural pulse or the best movies of each year or decade.
He's got good taste. Him and his wife both have good taste.
Yeah.
Yes. But then couldn't you say that about Rami Malek too? Because he finds himself in projects, and certainly did before he really blew up, it's almost a jump scare. I mean, I hadn't watched The Master in a few years. I did get to see it in 70 millimeter at the Castro in San Francisco. Absolutely.
When it came out?
Mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he's sort of the Skinamarink of his time. Just
there you go. That's it. You have nailed it.
You got to have one, at least in your cult, I would assume. One Skinamarink. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's as particularly good about selecting titles. I mean, there's like
no, that's not what I meant. It's just like sometimes
as far as notoriety, he's pretty good at it.
I mean, he's got like a good face for this era. this and like to have it, and
You mean like a punchable one?
yeah, I think so.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, because definitely that.
like he's a pussy, like he's
Yeah,
you know
like
what I mean, like yeah,
like he's just a sandcastle on the beach.
exactly.
I'm gonna
Well,
say it. He's good in this movie.
he's good in this. He's good in Oppie.
He's good in Oppie. He's
Yeah.
not
As
always
as
horrible.
a bootlicker, yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's really good in that role. You should keep
He's
doing
great
it.
at dropping a pen.
Yeah, scribbling on paper.
Yeah. He puts the pen in Oppenheimer.
Oh, Jesus Christ! All right.
Thank
anyway,
you. This
good
will
night,
be my last
everyone.
one.
This will be the last.
This is awesome. This is
of
the
series.
last episode.
Um,
Good one to end on.
Season finale, series finale.
finale.
even.
There you
So,
go.
Yeah, there we go.
Cliffhanger.
But no, I mean, yeah, I guess that's a good way to start, Eric. I mean, you saw the film in 70 millimeter over in at the Castro in San Francisco. I would also say too, like you're not that we need to rehash the film before, but this is a big film because it is the follow up to There Will Be Blood, and I don't know what your thoughts on There Will Be Blood were at the time, or like your expectations for this going in, because for me and Jay, I don't know about you, my expectations were through the roof because There Will Be Blood is such an important film. I think to a
was
lot
my
of
favorite
us,
movie ever in
yeah,
2012.
exactly. And so, Eric, for you in that time, like where were you at with There Will Be Blood, and then your anticipation going into it, and then what were your thoughts on it, and what are your thoughts on it now? A lot of questions. Answer them.
In the No Country, There Will Be Blood Wars. I sided with There Will Be Blood as the better film, and I feel that history is that I was on the right side of history.
Do you not like No Country?
Is that what I said?
I mean, you
That's
said
not
you
what I
sided.
said, now is it?
You just said you sided on that, and that
I
history is
sided
proven
on
right.
it as the better film.
But you said,
But
No,
I
but if you
still
say
love
you
No
like something
Country.
more than another thing, it means you don't like the other thing.
yeah. So you need to clarify your statements. I
That's how
could
criticism
read
works
back from the
in
court reporter
2023.
what you just said, Colonel Jessup. All right.
No country rocks.
Yeah, No Country.
I love No Country. I like There Will Be Blood better.
There
So
you go.
yes, my expectations were huge for this because, like we said, we started with Cigarettes and Coffee and Hard Eight, and his films kept getting bigger. The scope got bigger, or the cast got bigger. And then he closed that, and There Will Be Blood has a smaller, tighter cast. This even more so, even though we've got, Rami Malek and Laura Dern and
Punch Drunk too.
and all of these, and Punch Drunk as well. So I love that he kind of refocused to that smaller group. I think it requires I don't know, not better writing, but just nobody can be lost in a 3-person film. Everybody has to be a game there.
I think it's just more of a more experienced, older director and having better control, rather than letting into all the younger impulses to just say bigger, more. It's like no.
Well, it's
And I
smaller
really
in
think
focus, but larger in scale.
Exactly, and larger in ideas too. You know what I mean?
I'm so obsessed with the opening of this film.
Yeah.
I mean, really, before he gets into the sandcastle finger banging, but
Hello.
Which of course is peak cinema.
Yeah.
It has its moment, but just the the very long pause of that black screen between the
water,
the Weinstein credits and the master credit is like hilariously long. And then yes, on the water, the way it's cut, the way it's shot, with just like B-roll dialogue and all of this stuff, was like The Thin Red Line, or just Malick without feeling like, look what I'm doing here.
Well, how dare you?
It's And I love it. It's just it might be it might be my favorite cinematography from a PTA.
It's his best looking movie. I'll say it. It's his best
I
looking
think
movie.
it's his best looking. And I even before this rewatch, I think about the shot of Joaquin Phoenix on that ship and the sea
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
It just randomly gets in my head because the blue is so blue. The depth of field is so intense. I don't know. I think about it all the time.
Yeah, I think also too, like the way certain sequences at night when he's like trying to steal things to make the hooch in the beginning of that's what he's making. Like, you know, like, or in the dark room where he's mixing it and he's got the girl from the store back there. Like, I don't know, Eric and I, we talked about this with some recent films, but let's just like, not a lot of filmmakers seem to understand how to properly light or shine a light in these dark scenes or these dark places or these dark settings. And this movie, it's just like, I would actually prefer if this movie stayed at night because you could see everything. Everything's so clear.
It's pretty remarkable.
It's
the interiors.
I mean, it's incredible. And then, yeah, when you're seeing the shots on the boat or on the beach, or later the bike sequence, you know, stuff at Laura Dern's house, like the processing scenes, or his, you know, when he's walking across, and just that zoom in shot when he's like hugging and you know, kind of making love to the screen glass there on the window. I mean, that's just such an evocative shot. I mean, the processing scene alone under the boat, the infamous processing scene, which we'll talk about, how impeccably shot that thing is. It's
scary because it's just an interrogation room.
Yeah,
and everything is like black in it except for,
and that is lit
Hoffman.
So stylistically.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It's so purposefully lit like that too, though, right? Because it's like, okay, like if you're closing your eyes to your subconscious, the way that you would do this exercise, you would see nothing but pitch black and then inject whatever your vision is right there. It's so purposeful, I think. And
the lighting is like going to some sort of ethereal plane in that sequence. It's
I like.
I also love that it always feels like it is of the time that it is. And then the shots of the people he's taking the photos of have that exact look of a photo from that period.
I was thinking the same thing on this rewatch. I was like, I didn't realize you could recreate that image. It's remarkable to me that he was able to make it look exactly like you would see in a textbook from the 1950s.
It's so stunning, and just the allowing that attention to detail for these brief little seconds that are in this. Instagram and TikTok could never with their filters. Never.
I don't know. Have you seen that Wes Anderson AI?
God damn it, Jay.
I hate you so much.
Son of a bitch. Now you know what I deal with every week, Eric. Not that you're any better on a day-to-day basis with your. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Jay, did you go to the theater and see this? Did you see it? I'm just like Eric. I saw it in 70 millimeter. I was lucky enough. I went to Austin. I drove. I'll tell my story here in a minute. But Jay, did you see it in theater? Did you see it in 70 at the time?
Certainly did not see it in 70 at the time. I saw this in the great city of Auburn, Alabama. They did not project this in 70.
At least they showed it.
They did show it, which was awesome. And this was shortly after we had started my first movie blog, again called Raining Frogs Reviews, after the film Magnolia. So this was a very important movie for me at the time, for sure. And I will tell you the one thing, Ryan, you were mentioning how you wish it was set more at night and stuff. The one thing I remember about the first time I watched this movie was just being like, this movie is so bright.
Yeah.
It is, and especially that opening sequence. And Eric, I'm totally with you. I think about him laying across the bow of the top of the ship all the time. I think it's one of the great kind of immediately after the ocean, which is by itself one of the great opening shots of all time, to go to him on top there is just so evocative just immediately. And this is after There Will Be Blood, which we talked about, and every time I watch it, I find it a little more straightforward. It's still incredible, but this movie is not straightforward whatsoever.
No.
Its use of point of view and subjectivity and expressionism is really amazing, and as well as kind of the more understated, more impressionistic pieces that it really delves into at certain points. I've been reading the Adam Naiman, Paul Thomas Anderson book, and in the scene where he's going back and forth across the room, he called it Looney Tunes if it was lensed by Terrence Malick. And you want to get my engine revved? That's it right there. And this movie, I like it more every time I watch it. I saw it with my co-writer of Raining Frogs Reviews, which we sold for $1.5 million, of course. But I saw it with him in the theater, and it was a really cool experience, because it was one of those where, There Will Be Blood is a movie where you start thinking about art and film differently. And then this is one that really ups the ante on the subjectivity and the artfulness. And because of that, it has just gone up and up and up in my estimation. And I was fortunate enough to see this in 70 a few months ago, actually. And you talk about the brightness and the clarity of this film on 70. It's like out of this world gorgeous. I was just wrapped up by this thing watching it at the old Plaza Theater in Atlanta. We love the Plaza. Shout out. It's just such a beguiling, fascinating movie that I get more out of every time I watch it. I would say this is probably the PTA movie I've watched the most, interestingly. Even though it is
That's interesting.
Not traditionally the most entertaining necessarily, but for me, I just get so much out of it every time I watch it. It's a masterpiece. I'm dropping the M word. Let's go. The Master, more like the masterpiece.
There you go. All right. Well, he's definitely
deep thoughts from Jay Ledbetter.
They are
right there.
deep thoughts right at the end. Jinx,
I like to. My whole thing is giving actual thoughts and then undercutting anything actually substantive. I have to say
that's fair, because then he knows his place. Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
I like doing that as well. I'm like, here's a cogent thought, but nope, I'm gonna end it with a pun because I'm a fucking idiot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's in the paperwork when you signed up to be at AwardsWatch.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I saw this in college. I took my then girlfriend, now my wife, with me to Austin. It was playing here in San Antonio, but it was 70 millimeter was like 60 minutes away. Of course, I wasn't not gonna not go see it in 70 millimeter at the Draft House up there, and
that's less than the millimeter of the film. You got to go. That's the rule.
Yeah.
If it's on 35 and it's 34 minutes away, you go. If it's 35 and it's an hour away, you don't go.
And also too, though, I drove up I-35 to see it on 70. There you go. So
wow.
I was not told there was going to be math today.
Yeah, there's a quiz at the end. Show has changed a little bit. Maybe if you pay attention and listen. But anyway, I showed her There Will Be Blood. Her mind was blown. It's one of her favorite movies of all time. We watched Magnolia and Boogie Nights. She likes those movies a lot. She actually just recently showed her Punch Drunk. She thought it was fine. And so we were very, very excited to see this. And so we get there, the movie starts. It's glorious. I mean, this movie is just, if you want to say it's the most beautiful movie of the 2010s, I would not put it past you. I think it's up there with Tree of Life. It's like the most gorgeously shot movie of the decade. And at the end of it, I was just like, I don't know what the hell. Because on a first watch, I think that this is a lot of movie. It really is a lot of movie to take in. And she just looked at me. She said, "I hated this movie. I couldn't get into it."
And you know what? Honestly, I love that.
And I love it.
Movie.
Yeah, I love that it's gonna give a very visceral reaction. It's funny then because like a couple years later, and we'll talk about this next week, but Inherent Vice, she went to, and I was like, oh God, that movie was so mixed and everything. I was worried and everything. There it is. And she was like, the movie is one of the funniest movies I've seen in a long time. I loved it. Wow. So I never know which way she's going to go on a PTA movie now, actually, since there will be.
If I made my wife watch Inherent Vice, I'd sleep on the couch.
You never showed Allie Inherent Vice?
No.
You don't think she liked it?
I know my limits.
Oh, okay. You know,
every time I watch a movie, she asks, is it a regular movie or a J movie? And that's a prime example of a J movie.
That's fair.
Wow.
But you didn't like show her Phantom Thread or Licorice Pizza? You don't think she'd like those?
I showed her Licorice Pizza and she liked Licorice Pizza.
Okay. Maybe, but not PT?
Have not watched. I'll watch PT with her next time, but she has not seen it yet.
You don't want to give her any ideas with the mushrooms. Just best to leave.
Yeah, you probably already fuck up.
I don't know. Sounds kind of fun.
Don't have to go to work on Monday. But I too, Jay, every time I watch this movie, it grows and grows and grows. Its ideas get bigger. And also too, the thing about it is every time I think at a certain point in the movie, I'm like, okay, I got it. I know it. I know everything about it. No, we just went to another scene. Shit. Okay, I don't have it anymore. And I think that it's a movie that is always evolving for me. And I think that every rewatch, I think I have it, and then I don't. And then by the end, I just kind of boil it down to just this chaotic relationship built inside this very specific topic, which is this, obviously the genesis of Scientology, being, because I don't know if you guys know this, but this movie is about Scientology, and it was a little controversial.
Thomas Anderson said it's not.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise definitely did not get mad about this at all, whatsoever, and he didn't have to call Tom and share a coconut cake and tell him to calm the fuck down, But I think that this is one of the best movies of the last decade. The 2010s, that is. And I think it is also a movie that is one of the best fucked up relationship movies of all time between Lancaster Dodd and Freddie Quill. It's just energy that is just coming together, this chaos versus this mannered man. And if you just listen and buy into the rhetoric that Lancaster Dodd is presenting, you don't have to agree with it. It really is presenting it all out there as to why he can't stop coming back to Freddie and this weird connection that they have. And I think that the London sequence every time always kind of really gets me there when they're at their most desperate and talking about the past lives and the way in which they're connected. And I think if it wasn't for a nutty cult at the center of it, we would kind of buy into it more in the justifications maybe of this religion. But I don't know. I think that Hoffman is extraordinary. Adams, this is my favorite Amy Adams performance. This is my favorite.
Is that a crazy opinion? That might be a crazy opinion.
No,
I don't think so. It seems like it's definitely not a common one.
It's this in Arrival. Her last two good ones are my favorites. And then
those are her last two good ones.
If you had said Enchanted in this, I would have been like,
what's her last?
Fuck yeah.
Her second to last good performance was in 2012.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. Keep talking.
No, I said, crazy. Yeah. No, look at her career.
My favorite performer.
Yeah.
So,
and we're acting like sharp objects doesn't exist. okay, sure.
Oh, I did
Good-
forget.
good-
I
good
did
call.
forget about that. Yeah, that is a top 3. Well, okay, film performance. How about that? Okay,
Yeah,
we
I
just lump
see.
that
I
in.
see. I see you pushing the goalposts out.
No, I
That's
just
fine.
forgot about Sharp Objects. That's R.I.P. Jean-Marc
I mean,
Vallée.
I'll say, look, I mean, I'm gonna be,
Run it down.
I'm the Amy Adams stan here.
Run
I
it
mean,
down.
one, objectively, you're forgetting about her.
Yeah, but
She's great in her.
I don't think of her in her.
She's
Does that
in
make
her
sense?
as much as she's
But
in the
she's-
master.
But she's in it, so that doesn't make any sense.
She's great.
She's in it.
I
but
also
don't
think she's great in American Hustle. Sorry. I think she's really good in American Hustle.
I think she's a little bit miscast, but trying really hard.
I think they all are.
And then here's my most controversial one.
Uh,
I think she's really good in Nocturnal Animals.
Oh, I hate that movie.
Everybody's good in Nocturnal Animals
No,
because it's
no,
also a great movie.
It's
So.
a
I
bad-
really like
bad
Nocturnal
movie.
Animals.
I don't like.
She's
Nocturnal.
also amazing in Between Two Ferns, and I'm not going to pretend that
the movie.
no.
Oh, just her
Show.
video.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, there was
Well,
a bit.
what about,
well, there
what
was a
about I
Between
mean,
Two
her
Ferns movie.
Oscar-nominated performance in Vice, of course,
Fuck no.
which
Not
we
even.
all celebrate to this day.
No, it's a bad movie. You hate that movie. Don't even
I hate
joke
that
about
movie.
it.
Yeah, no, I mean, look,
It's rough.
the fall of Amy Adams is one of the great tragedies of the last decade. It is.
I've sold a lot of stock, but I've got maybe about like 10 stocks left because I think Mariel Heller can save her. She can save a lot of people. Mariel Heller.
Yeah,
makes
what's
good
going on
movies.
with that movie?
Night Bitch? Eric, what's going
Night-
on with Night Bitch?
I
movie
don't
named
know.
after your heart.
It's coming out in 2024.
Goddamn right it is. Who has that? Is that a Netflix movie?
Wow. I know it is or was.
Okay.
I
There you
don't
go.
remember now.
You know you have a computer right in front of you. You can look this up.
Yeah, but then there's a
You put
weird
him on the spot. I will say.
pause
there you
and
go.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Are you kidding me? Of course.
Yeah. I love Heller. And
I mean, I really hope that is her comeback. She really was for me an
Yeah.
automatic. She's in the movie. I'm going to see it. It could be about the invention of, I don't know, I'm basically about to describe one of the subplots of American Hustle with the.
I think you were
The
Uh,
science
you-
oven.
the science.
Yeah.
Yeah, the science
The,
because the
uh,
vacuum cleaner.
it could be about
is
the invention.
joy.
She could be the creator of Hello Kitty, which I assume would be very problematic. But I'd watch it anyway.
Yeah.
Listen.
That rolls for Emma Stone,
this-
actually.
This podcast is not going to turn into the degradation of Amy Adams. I will not.
I am not. I love Amy
I
Adams.
love
She
Amy
is-
Adams.
That's
on
not
my
what I'm hearing.
on my honeymoon, we did the Newlywed
What?
Game, and the question on one of the questions of the Newlywed Game was, "Who is your celebrity crush?" My wife, without a moment of hesitation, said Amy Adams, which was the correct answer, and certainly to a certain extent remains the correct answer. However, she keeps doing movies like Woman in the Window and Hillbilly Elegy, and it breaks my heart. You know what was the most attractive thing about Amy Adams? How good she was at her freaking job. I was like Michael Mann, just like, this person is so good at their job. And now she hasn't been as good at her job, and it bums me out.
Joaquin Phoenix, though, it's his best performance.
Is this the start of Weird Joaquin?
No, Two Lovers.
No, he was born weird.
Yeah, he was
Joaquin.
born. Yeah, he was born. weird.
But this really put him like in a different place. The extreme skinniness,
The slouching.
the hands on the waist and the broken model pose, which is so creepy because it's so like old man. It's so high waist pant. It's
Daniel
just-
Plainview does some of that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of
There's
that.
a little bit.
But there's also just like when he's on the beach and he's watching them make the mermaids, and right before he goes in and fucks it, just way his skeleton looks, and of course, like when he's jerking and all that stuff on the beach, like every part of him on the beach, it looks so sickly, unhealthy. It's someone that's literally cigarettes and booze to get through this horrible experience. I mean, like even at the end when he goes to London and Adams looks at him and goes like, are you unhealthy? And he pushes back on her and is like, no, this is just how I look. And she's like, "Are you drinking?" He's like, "Nope, I'm
Two
good."
things can be true at the same time.
Exactly. But
And they are.
no, I think that this is
You think this is the best Joaquin?
This is his era when he starts becoming, for a while, the best actor in the business. Like, there's no question. He was delivering
I'm gonna disagree with
great
that.
performances left and right. I mean, like, he goes from this to Her. He had some other great film, like, The Sister Brothers, and he had Two Lovers a little bit before, and The Immigrant. And he was
Joaquin was never my guy. He was never my go-to.
Inherent Vice, which we'll talk about next week. I think he's wonderful in.
He's one of the biggest actors of his generation. He goes for it, which I like, and works most of the time.
I think he's very versatile, and I think
he heavily benefited from being out of the shadow of his brother.
Yeah, well, yes. And
I don't say that coldly or ironically.
No, it's
anything, but it's
kind of the truth.
True. He wouldn't have the career that he has.
No, his brother was in everything. It felt like for a long, long time, and then obviously he passed, and it almost feels like the roles of his brother didn't.
But his brother wasn't different. He was the heartthrob.
No,
it's totally
not like
different.
they were competing for the same thing, but for attention and for definitely would have been a
different personality,
a different scenario.
Yeah, it changed him for sure.
Enlarged his footprint. Just his enlarged. That's a word, right? It
sure making it one.
Increased the size of.
There you go.
His status.
Add those extra words in there.
Indubitably, it did. Yeah.
I love the word enlarged, and it's one of my favorites in the dictionary. And nobody look it up.
I mean, but this is the movie he does after the whole "I'm Still Here" incident that happened.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the thing is that this established him as that kind of actor.
Yeah,
that's so removed from just kind of normalcy, and I don't know. Not that he was a method actor, because he wasn't a method actor the same way that old school method actors were, but definitely the same kind of attachment of somebody who's kind of not right.
Yeah.
In that head.
He takes his job very, 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 very seriously.
Yes.
But he also is.
I don't think he could do the performances that he does kind of a little bit without that, not to excuse horrible behavior, obviously. But there's also something about him in this that is so, would be coded now as so extremely on the spectrum, because he's a loner. He's a loser of a guy. And in a group of people, like the group of guys on the beach, he has like a moment where it's sort of like camaraderie, but he has no control. Yeah. And he goes all the way to Z immediately and alienates everyone around him.
Easy piece of characterization. And you understand who this guy is in the first 3 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Because he's by himself. He's banging the coconuts.
He's even framed that way, where everybody is making the woman in the sand, and he's sort of off to the side in his really weird stance. Mm-hmm. And he's clearly just not part of the crew. And then
it starts as a joke.
One fleeting moment, they're like, "Oh yes, we like this," and he's like, "Oh, you like this? What about if I do it for longer? Here we go."
Exactly. That's exactly right.
What if I add intensity to it?
Yeah, where he's like with the group and they're with him, but he doesn't know where the line is.
Oh, so you like this? Let's keep going.
Yes. And then he leaves, and their faces are like, "What the fuck just happened?" Yeah, it's
fascinating. I love a character like that in real life. Not so much, obviously. Yeah. Trouble, problematic, difficult, but in a movie, please give me more.
Can I tell you one of my favorite sequences in the film is the department store, and the way that PTA sets up the department store, the needle drop that he drops in there about Satan. It's so good. Like,
well, that's a song about celibacy.
Yeah, it's such a great choice for a
Boo
needle
to
drop.
that.
Yeah, well, not yes, not to celibacy, but
Oh yeah, okay.
but to the song choice, it was like, oh, you
He
know,
uses 3 of those songs essentially more or less about suppressing your desires, ironically, between that one, a roving, and then long slow boat to China
China.
is the exact same thing, where it's about, I want to have this intense control over you, but I'm going to try and convince you that that's not what I want so that I can really get it. And
But that's
it's
and that if there is
Mm.
anything that is beautifully underlines the entire existence of cult and cult leaders, that's it right there.
Mhm.
Because they're both trying to trick you into not thinking that they're a cult leader, but
convincing you
doing
into thinking
it
that you're doing this entirely on your own.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's also the weird thing about cults, and certainly most of the dialogue from Hoffman in here, is that it's easy to want to believe and be on board with so much of what he's saying. It's like, yeah, that makes sense.
It
Yeah,
does.
I get it. And I'm in a group that agrees, and I want to be in a group of people that agrees. You don't want to be uh, Freddie Quell on the beach alienating people. You want to be in the group.
But
And
yeah.
any cult does that and does it really well if they do it really well. And I
Well, then
think that everything Lancaster Todd says, even though I know that it's wrong, I listen to it with the most open ears. Like,
Mhm.
I totally get this.
Eric, do you feel like that lady that goes through the processing scene at the party and the old lady, and you're like, what I just experienced? But no, but like, I'm being serious. I'm not actually like making a
No, I
joke.
know what you mean.
No, like I get what you're saying, because to somebody like Freddie, he's not, he's in a different place of vulnerability, in that Freddie is, because of his past, the trauma, his regrets that we all see throughout the film, but especially in the processing scene, we see that also too, his stubbornness, his, I think that the great thing, you realize who Freddie is before he even meets Master, before he even meets Dodd, because you have the scene at the department store. You could call it on the spectrum, you could call it the PTSD, you could call it the trauma of war.
It's very much, it is so explicitly about how messed up these guys were coming out of World War II, which I think is something that people don't catch on to as much as they should.
No, they really should.
It's an essential part of the text of the movie that they don't talk about explicitly a lot, but is sort of
it's the thesis,
diagnosis.
Yeah,
really.
Exactly. Well, yeah, you mentioned diagnosis, them getting them all up the stairs, putting them in a room, telling them how it's going to be after the war. They're drinking fuel from the
drinking freaking torpedo fuel.
Exactly, which is going to completely fuck them up. Then they're putting them in these hospital beds, giving them these pills that they aren't asking any questions about. They're just taking them. And then they're supposed to go back into society and take photos. And
I know, by the way, he's killed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And
he hasn't grappled with any of that, or, been able to really just kind of
add in the childhood incestual trauma and all sorts of stuff. And you've got the
relationship that he's regretfully,
you've got a traumatic cocktail on par with the paint thinner drink that he puts together for Dodd, his potion.
But he's also not even just the potion he makes for him, but also when he's in the cabbage fields and that beautiful sequence at night, when he's in everything, and how he makes it for everybody else, and it essentially dehydrates the one guy and they think he poisoned him. And that beautiful, what is essentially the searcher shot, when the door opens and he runs out into the field, and it's so good. That tracking shot of like Joaquin Phoenix running. One.
Yeah,
it's just,
that's the reason the searcher shot is so freaking good, because it's so dark and it's so bright.
Exactly.
You know what? Good choice by John Ford. I understand why other people have copied that shot, but you know what? One of my favorite things about this movie is the fact that Dodd wants to become friends with Freddie because he likes his hooch.
Yeah.
It's such a for this guy who
temptation
considers
getting
himself
into it.
this great philosopher, this man of incredible steadiness, he just wants to get messed up with his buddy. And it's so telling of Dodd as a character, where, you know, these guys aren't that different. One can just keep it slightly more under control than the other one. But really, what he's espousing is no less crazy than what Freddie is talking about when he's blackout drunk on the boat. Yeah. But he's just more charismatic, and people take to him more. Mirroring, I think, is really effective.
Yeah, it's I just lost my train of thought. Damn it.
It's okay.
Yes, it's the success of a cult leader is also being able to exploit the weaknesses of their flock, and Quell does that with him, and he doesn't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's that. I mean, he's so drunk at the wedding. He's like, "When can I have your potion? More of your potion." The liquor that they have there, and he's like, "I don't give a shit about any of that. I want more."
That's like me at an awards show.
I mean, yeah, it definitely is. Fall right into the pool.
Well, literally, his speech about the dragon is literally about, like, I can get this hammered and still keep it under control. That's my superpower.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, and that it's also Who
doesn't love a functioning alcoholic, a highly functioning alcoholic?
But also too, the way he's drawn to him is because not just because of the hooch, but it's someone he doesn't have to truly perform with at every function of his life. There's only two people he can do that. It's Peggy and it's Freddie, and that's why he asks him, "How do you want to feel?" How is that not different than, a question that would be asked during processing? And then, of course, there is the processing scene. He wants to get to really know his friend. Like, right? You build up the relationship. You meet someone, you get friendly with them, maybe you have a drink, and then you, at a certain point over time, you really get to know a friend, and you get into philosophies or whatever. And that scene between the two of them, I mean, we see Phoenix's perspective the entire time, especially on the restart, because he's like, no. It's and Master's like, that's fine. You did a good job. Let's just keep drinking. We'll do okay. Who's the one that says, no, let's keep going? It's Freddie. So you could say that he's roped him into it, but it's also, you could say that he was done really diving this deep into who Freddie is. And at that point, I think it's not even, why is he saving Freddie? I think it's because he's obsessed with the idea of saving Freddie from that moment. And
it's also because he's the one person who doubts him.
Yeah.
Who also admires him despite kind of the pauses. Peggy knows he's full of crap, and she hates him. You have Freddie here who wholly admires him while also being a little questioning as far as Dodd's motivations are concerned. And if you compare this movie to There Will Be Blood, what's the difference between Dodd and Daniel Plainview, right? I mean, they're both charismatic businessmen espousing their religions. The only difference is Daniel Plainview's religion is oil, and Dodd's religion is this made-up science fiction nonsense that he's put together and monetized.
Well, I would say that
I think
Daniel's vision and success is far grander than Dodd's.
It certainly is financially, but as far as but the thing about Daniel's success is that it drives him into a world of loneliness. Dodd loves this monetization because it gives him not just wealth, but also admiration from these people. He's motivated by different things than Plainview is. He's almost a amalgamation of Eli and Plainview in There Will Be Blood, where he wants his flock and he wants his money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the brilliance of the movie, and it really complicates these relationships. And then when you add in the subjective perspective of certainly the latter half of the movie, really, if we want to talk about what is the Master about, I would argue the Master is about how people perform to hide their insecurity to make them either appear okay in Freddy's case or truly magisterial in the case of Dodd. And what's driving them all the time is essentially horniness and the desire of a woman's touch and a woman's affection. The final shot of the film is Freddy again cuddling up to the giant sand woman on the beach. It's like that is his ideal. That is his not only what he aspires to, but also what is holding him back. And there's the scene early in the film, the flashback when he's talking to Dodd about, oh, I loved this girl named Doris. I don't know what sort of forced perspective they did on the bench there, but Doris is like massive and he looks like a little baby in a sailor suit. He looks like he's going to go with his mommy to the Loverboy convention or Mother's Boy. What is it in Arrested Development? The Mother Boy convention.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's really what he looks like. And it's all about the subjective memory that he has of that, where he feels so small in relation to this person who he holds in such high esteem. And that kind of continues throughout his entire existence. It's this idea of not being quite enough. And Dodd, because he likes his hooch, kind of establishes this sense of purpose in his life. But he can never really overcome his ultimate desire, which is to be loved. And then when he's finally loved objectively at the end of the movie, what does he do? He tries to become the master by processing her and enforcing his ideology onto her.
Yeah.
So it's a good movie is what I'm saying.
Erik, you got anything? No.
I'm just listening at this. Yeah. No, that was great. I mean, I agree. I disagree. I'm not disagreeing with it.
No, I agree with you, Jay, because it's not really it's not a really like, I think that was the whole thing. It's like the idea of like, well, who's the master? Who's really in control and all that stuff? It's like, nah, that's a surface level bullshit kind of question that you really could ask.
The answer is Amy Adams, by the way.
Yeah, the answer is Amy Adams. She clearly is the master. Yes. She's the one running all the fucking shit. Because these two men are morons. And I always think of when he comes back from the prison after he's like, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. Okay. Yeah. I see you walk up on the grass and I'm like, fully erect essentially to see his best friend. Like it's, and what happens? They all think he fell to the ground and Amy Adams is right there on that porch. That's one of my favorite shots of the film. Is just Amy Adams looking like, son of a bitch, you didn't listen to a single fucking thing we said at that dinner, did you? No? Okay. We're just going to keep turning her. And she's so nice to Freddy right when he shows up to London, and then it turns on like literally 20 seconds into the conversation. Just how like, you need to pick a side and otherwise never come back here again. It's ridiculous. And give ultimatums like that. And I mean, the scene where they're in New York and they're getting embarrassed and he's writing, you could totally tell that he's writing essentially what she is saying. She is the one that's really pushing the agenda, pushing it forward, pushing the message, keeping him focused, because that's when Freddy is a big inspiration to the second book. And how jealous she is the night after the wedding when they're at breakfast and she's looking at him and she's saying that he's been up all night writing. He hasn't been able to stop. And how you inspire something in him, and how fucking mad she probably is about that, because she's the inspiration, or it's at least not the inspiration, but damn sure nearly even beyond just inspiration. She's the architect behind this male force that, spewing bullshit at cocktail parties to old bags to give them money, because that's what he gets arrested on, is like a check or a consultation.
The fraud thing is so funny.
So
By what authority do you? I'm like,
yeah.
It's
we haven't really talked about how funny the movie is. This movie's
oh my god,
really funny.
Hilarious. This movie's fucking hilarious. I mean, Hoffman's reaction to drinking the hooch at first, it's like it's so violent. But then he can't help but pour another round later. It's so,
And I think, and
so great.
Ryan, we talked about in the There Will Be Blood episode how you find There Will Be Blood like gut-bustingly hilarious.
Oh,
And
I laugh so much throughout.
I
that
kind
movie.
of
It's ridiculous.
don't. But this is much more overtly funny than There Will Be Blood.
Well, there's a lot more physical, I think, comedy within just Joaquin Phoenix's performance. I mean, like,
I think half of that just comes from the fact that there's more human interaction in this
yes,
movie.
I
than in
think
There
so.
Will
There's
Be
less
Blood.
isolation for sure. And then in
Or at
this
least
one,
not
I mean,
physical isolation,
I mean, like when they arrest,
emotional isolation.
when they arrest, it's really just truly makes me laugh when they arrest Freddy. And it's almost like a mangy dog that they're trying to put a muzzle on. And it takes 3 of them while Dodd's perfectly fine. And he gets all the way to the car and everything. And they are still wrestling Freddy. And then it turns from 3 guys to 4 guys. And it's the same 4 guys trying to throw him in his cell. And it's so crazy over the top, but it's so funny. Just Freddy, the physicality of Phoenix banging his back into the bed, the breaking of the toilet, and then of him yelling at
the accidental breaking of the toilet.
Yeah, the what does he call it when he's like telling him you're making this shut up and fuck you, and they're going back and forth.
Fuck you and fuck yeah.
And then the guy behind them,
love moment.
And then the guy behind him who's like, "Yeah, would you guys shut up?" He's like, "I'll fuck you too." It's good shit, man. There's a lot of funny moments in this movie. I mean, when he's pushing the lamp at the store before the fight inside,
it's also a pretty disturbing movie as well.
The whole fight at the store is absolutely hilarious. I wish it had gone on longer because it's just
you need to shut up.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so.
You need to relax.
Again, he's kind of getting off on it at that point.
And totally.
He knows where the line is there, and he knows that he wants to go past it and make this guy attack him, and he does it absolutely on purpose.
Yeah,
I love that.
I always found it really funny too when he grabs the girl's arm as he's walking out of there, and she's just like, "I don't want to fucking leave. It's my job. Like, I just met you. Not with you." Yeah. Yes, psycho.
Do y'all know who the first choice to play Freddy was?
Oh,
I'm not sure. I know.
Was it?
Let me.
It wasn't Leo, was it?
Let me think of 2012. No.
Ed Norton.
No,
that'd be pretty good. Is he younger?
I would say like a Christian Bale doing Skinny again, but there's something about his height that doesn't.
He was an Avenger.
Downey?
No.
Ruffalo?
No.
Oh, please not Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner.
Wow.
Fuck. Dodged a bullet.
Well,
Lancaster dodged a bullet.
He was, yeah.
Oh.
I'm not going to.
What a different movie that is.
I think it would have been a terrible movie.
Jeremy Renner's done good stuff. I mean, I think Jeremy Renner's got talent. But
yeah,
we don't need to go down that road.
No, we're not. We're not going down a Renner hole.
You know what Jeremy Renner is really good in? Not a great movie. He's really good in American Hustle. He's really good.
He's actually pretty good in that movie.
Yeah.
I hope he's able to find a second part of his career, after the whole accident and saving his.
Yeah, that's a crazy story.
What a crazy story.
I don't know. Maybe it was just a sign. So.
God damn it.
Oh man.
Well, you said dodged a bullet, but not a snow plow.
I wonder if he's done any processing after that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I would hope so. But you know what? Good for him. But anyway, I couldn't see anybody else playing this like that. The physicality.
It's just
I just couldn't see Renner
movie.
do that. Yeah, that's what makes this.
But there are some people who are like Joaquin Phoenix he's over baking it here.
No,
I
don't think so.
We can not think that he does that, but totally understand people that absolutely do think that, because that very physicality that you talk about in the performance, which is incredible, those fight sequences or the sequences of him being wrestled or breaking the toilet or actually almost anything, even throwing the glass at the guy, there is a danger in his performance in this, because as an actor he also doesn't have much of a line where he knows that he needs to stop himself here, because he clearly passes that line for himself and for everyone around him to a point that is dangerous. And it is the thing that makes the performance so volatile and so kinetic and so incredible to watch, because it does feel very dangerous all the time.
He's an agent of chaos. It's almost like he'd be good to play the role of the Joker.
God damn it. Well, that's the thing. It's like everyone, when that movie did come out and they were praising that performance.
He's doing a lot of master business in the Joker.
I'm telling you, I was watching that movie going like, y'all need to go watch The Master again. Like,
but I think he's doing too much business in that one. He's taking the grotesquerie of the stances and the stuff. He's making it look like
it's discount Freddie Quill. It's discount Freddie Quill. That's what that performance is, and it's
it's not discount Freddie Quill. It's like
what you expect from Todd Quill.
Freddie Quill on steroids or something. I don't know. It's
$100 million.
I don't know. I don't care for Joker. I got to be honest.
Yeah, not.
When are we doing our Todd Phillips series?
Never fucking happening. How about that? I don't even need Eric's to talk to Erik about that one. We're never doing that.
Oh, I'll be on for Joker 2.
Do a follow
electric
boogaloo pot of do sounds like the taste of things. Joker 2, the taste of things. Yeah,
Joker 2, obla di obla da.
Yes, exactly right.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, that movie's gonna suck. I'm not gonna review that. All right.
What about so can we talk about sort of again
can we talk about
the objective perspective of the latter half of this film? Like, as soon as Elizabeth starts touching Freddie as Laura Dern is giving her speech, it is no longer reality, correct? For a certain period of time, or at least no longer a completely genuine reality.
Yeah, I mean, because like there's the moment when he's like falling asleep or he's kind of drunk, and it's the aroving. The
aroving, the aroving
is everybody next
is one of the highlights of the movie.
Yeah,
sure.
Is everybody naked? Only the women naked? Is it just through Freddie's perspective? It totally is.
Certainly through Freddie's perspective, and who is the only person who looks at him directly? Peggy.
Peggy. Yeah, exactly.
That's a great.
She pierces
point.
Through the reality, the
exactly
subjective reality.
But I think you're right, Jay, because he goes through extensive processing from that point, and it is so through Freddie's what's the right way, I guess, to say it, his lens, through their perspective, his rehabilitation.
Oh, God.
Through you know what I mean, like they are trying to fix him big time through all this, and so
I feel like they're trying to push him out. They're trying
they're trying to make it super
it's like
impossible.
In the military where they're like, I don't think you're really suited for this. I'm going to run you until you quit.
Yeah. And well, yes, but I think also too, I mean, the dinner sequence before all that happens is kind of important, because everybody there starts making up bullshit. Like Rami Malek, the daughter, right? She says there, I think he wants me, and this is right after the hand scene,
which I don't think actually happened.
It may not have.
That's my argument.
But I think it did.
I disagree.
I think it totally did. To provoke reaction, not as more of a test rather than as a flirtatious, advancement or anything. I always think of that. But then, I mean, everyone around that table is telling Dodd, this guy needs to go. He is going to be the end of us. And he's like, no, we need to help him. He's my bro. And so they go through all these tests. And I think you're right, Jay. They're breaking him. But I think Dodd's trying to break him to show that he's not wrong to keep him around. And the others are trying to break him, then yes, to release him and get him out of here. So I think that there's still a tug and pull. There's a fight for Freddie's soul, essentially there. And ultimately the only key, the only harbinger of that key to his soul is Freddie, because he's a He can snap right when someone says a bad review after the second book is released. It doesn't matter how much he walked back and forth. Nature says he's going to be an animal and he's going to beat the shit out of this guy because he's had that trauma longer than any of the rehabilitation that they're providing him for. And so you just go back to what is second nature to you.
And maybe the Elizabeth sequence is only partially subjective because there's a distinct possibility that she's trying to manipulate him into messing up and forcing Dodd to kick him out. That's certainly possible.
Yeah. And Rami Malek just doesn't.
Elizabeth might have a little Peggy in her.
Well, I mean,
by the way, all of the girls that he lusts after in this movie are redheads.
Yes. And then also too, I mean, it goes back to then the motorcycle sequence later where she's just as excited, if not ecstatic, for Freddie on the bike. And then you see Malik's face when she goes, "Yay, Freddie!" And he looks like, bitch, what did you just say? You're my wife. Like, what the hell's going on here? Like, so
the motorcycle sequence, which is indebted to perhaps Paul Thomas Anderson's favorite filmmaker, Jonathan Demme,
because it's Melvin and Howard. Yeah, exactly.
A great film.
Great film and a great sequence.
Great filmmaker.
Yes. Well, he takes a lot of the close-ups in this movie and said they're very inspired, like especially the Amy Adams, Joaquin.
When she's saying,
look at my eyes. What's the color of my eyes sequence? Yeah. Yes, it's very, very Demme. It's very,
this movie does gets really expressionistic in that way where it does just completely change the reality of the film, which I love so much. That complicates it to me. I just love that stuff. That stuff is my favorite. It's why I love Terrence Malick. It's like that stuff to me. I eat that stuff up. And he does that in this film probably more than any other movie that he's made.
Man,
I think I would have to agree. I think he is constantly working at manipulating the audience in the way that a cult leader would do. And certainly something like that close-up of Adams is doing that because she's staring directly at us. And I don't know. I don't think you have to be a cinephile or have a huge film vocabulary to understand and know what is happening when that is happening in front of your face, what the intent is.
And the other thing for me about this movie is I think over time, certainly his earlier films are very, very indebted, almost pastiches of other filmmakers' works. And I think with There Will Be Blood, he starts going further away from that. And with this film, to me, it is like, yes, there are references to other movies, but this is a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. And it doesn't feel like anybody else's movie. And that is why, for me, this is really kind of the turning point of his career. And also, to me, I think this is his best movie. I'm going to say it. I think this is his best movie. I just do.
Oh,
I think it's his best movie.
You think that this is his best movie?
Before I haven't rewatched the ones that have come after, so maybe they'll surpass him. But I've kind of held that opinion for a while, and I certainly this rewatch didn't change that for me.
I don't. I mean, Erik, do you have a favorite? I mean, we're doing rankings at the end of this, but do you have a favorite?
Okay, well, I was not ready for rankings.
Well, you don't have to rank them. You can just say what it's just fucking one.
I don't know because my relationship is I love Hard 8 and I'll always be a Hard 8 apologist. Always.
We like Hard 8.
Yeah, Hard 8's good. I mean, Hard 8 is for me his lowest film.
Tough. This is tough because I think obviously Boogie Nights and Magnolia have the aura around them that they do. There's a rawness to Boogie Nights that I don't think it might be the last time he had that, because everything since then has a refinement. Even Magnolia, which has super fucking frenetic energy, has a visual refinement,
a formal specificity that Boogie Nights does not have.
But with the master, just visually, and I'm not going to pronounce cinematographer's name correctly, so please just look him up, and I don't
Neither-
want to butcher it.
Neither am I. It's totally up to Jay.
Who was
But-
replacement for Ellsworth.
Yeah.
Which I can totally see.
Yeah.
But Ellsworth's photography would have been
That would have been interesting.
grainier,
Yeah.
and this is so crisp.
Yeah.
And again, it's a refinement that I think is it's a huge career change and move
Yeah.
from the first half of his films.
Well, that's what people
And
say.
it feels
about his-
grown up.
Yeah, that's what people
the
say.
cinematographers for this movie, their other work is insane.
Insane.
It is, and hugely Francis Ford Coppola, including Megalopolis next.
Yes, exactly. But no, it's this is the film, Eric. You mentioned like There Will Be Blood kind of encaps that era of PTA, or is the middle film in between that first era and now what he's doing in the present. And that's the movie, and it's sandwiched in between that, you know, some consider his best, some consider, you know, this great, you know, American masterpiece. And then you have this film that then kicks that off, that next era, which is just this, I mean, it just kind of hits you in the face, and it takes you, I mean, it's taken me 10 years and all this, really 10 years to still be able to kind of form words. Cause if we were having to do like I can just tell this right now, since my boss is here. If I had to do a review of this movie, like now, like if it just released now, I don't know if I'd be able to do it. This is a tricky dicky, this fucking movie is. And well,
that's what it is. After watching There Will Be Blood,
this is,
and
yeah,
I love There Will
that
Be
movie.
Blood, and I hate disparaging There Will Be Blood, but
you
I'm
gotta
like,
stop it. It's really breaking my heart.
But yeah, like, I'm like, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
You,
But with this
you
movie,
better
I'm like,
get it. You know?
There's so much more to get. My God,
This
this is
yeah, they're different meals, but they're still made by the same chef. You know what I mean?
It's very strange, though, that, and very ironic, that Paul Thomas Anderson probably will always be maybe not more known for Boogie Nights and Magnolia, but when you think of Paul Thomas Anderson, you think of those two, and you think of large casts, and that will sort of be like the
Think so?
instant.
I don't think
I
that-
do think so.
So
I
you
do
think when
that-
he dies,
the big question is, yes, this is
Let
this
me
is now the
finish,
question
let
I
me
pose.
finish.
Yes, okay, yes.
But the irony being,
All right, if I could just interrupt
that was
one
the
more
same,
time.
That was the same thing that happened with Robert Altman, where he did so many big cast movies that became like, that's how we think of him, and it almost forgets the three women. It almost forgets these smaller, intimate movies, and I think that's where PTA is now. He feels so far past Magnolia and Boogie Nights now that I don't know if he'll kind of ever really do that again.
well, but to that degree, I mean, I think the movie he will. I don't want to speak morbidly at all, but I think that the movie that he will be
This is the
recognized with,
test.
I think that the movie he will be recognized for, when it was all said and done, when he was retired, let's just say he's retired, will be There Will Be Blood. That's going to be the movie.
Paul
that
Thomas
like,
Anderson,
you know,
director of blank, dies at 135. What is
Yeah.
the movie in the headline on CNN?
it's There Will Be Blood.
I think it's There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, I think it is.
I don't know. Are we looking at that though through a bit of the lens of an awards camera? Because that's kind of where.
No, we're not. We're looking at it through the objective, like that
Okay.
movie.
Good.
I mean, there's definitely I
Is
could see
the-
Boogie Nights.
Let's
It's
talk
either I
awards.
think it's either Boogie Nights or There Will Be Blood.
or both.
See,
They'll put both up there.
I think it's always going to be Boogie Nights, no matter what. No matter what he does in his career, it will always be Boogie Nights.
See,
Well,
I
if you look
think
at if you,
I
if you
think
do the
it'll be.
comparisons, go ahead, Ryan.
I think it'll be There Will Be Blood because of that Daniel Day-Lewis performance. I think that fucking performance is so iconic, is one of the great performances ever that so many people love. Like you were talking about, Jay, like that's the movie that we will remember Daniel Day-Lewis for. I
That
think
was
this
my argument. Yeah.
I think that is the case as well, because that's you're right, Eric. He had an era where he was definitely like, light Altman, but he has evolved from that way
I'm
much
not
so.
disparaging him. I'm just
No.
saying, like, when
Eric, why
when
do you
he-
hate Paul Thomas Anderson?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm coming out as a hater right now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, collective conscious.
No, I
When
get
they-
you.
When they think of Paul Thomas Anderson, they probably go to Boogie Nights first.
Yeah, I just think the industry would probably say There Will Be Blood. That's just my opinion. And
I mean, it's wrong, but that's you're
mean,
absolutely.
I mean, hey.
welcome to it. That's what we're here. That's what
I
we're all
would-
about here.
listen,
is
I would
But
say-
squashing
Ryan,
opinions.
also for you and I personally, There Will Be Blood is such a
yeah, I mean that's
totemic.
It is a
There Will Be
generational
Blood is
thing.
basically the monolith in our lives as people who care too much about movies.
No,
So
No,
it's
and-
just it's different.
and I think for Eric, I mean that's a big movie for you in your life at that point in the 90s as well too. So, and it is a very iconic film. Don't get me wrong. So I think it's probably those two movies. I would be shocked if it was like Inherent Vice. That would be like the most fucking weird.
No, that would be like the last movie.
Exactly.
That'd be
Yeah, I would,
almost below Hard Eight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see him try a big ensemble thing again, because if you do the
I hope
Altman
he
comparison,
does.
Altman did he had his 3 women in there, but he had his very
The Player.
in the wilderness 80s.
Yeah.
And the way that he came back was The Player, which is a much bigger ensemble movie. And then he does Gosford Park, a much bigger ensemble movie.
Prairie
I would
Home
love to see
Companion.
Paul Thomas Anderson circle back around to that. I would have a ball. But he's still making good stuff, but I would like to see him.
I
try
would be
that
obsessed if he did that again.
Yeah.
I mean, like Eric talks about.
again. Finally work with Renner.
Well, Eric, there you go. Well, Eric, you always talk about you want directors to kind of go back to their home base. Essentially, we were talking about this on an episode earlier this year with Griffin about Christopher Nolan and wanting to go back to a Memento, a Prestige. This was before we saw Oppenheimer, and I told you, I was like, I think this movie will probably be the closest we get to that in terms, like, yes, it's $100 million movie, but it's still a bunch of people talking in rooms as opposed to like dreams within a dream and temporal pincer movements and stuff like that. For PTA, I do think he would go back to it. I mean, like, I think that even to a certain extent, like Licorice Pizza has a pretty decent sized cast as opposed to like Phantom Thread or, I mean, there's a lot of characters in Inherent Vice. It's not, but it's all centered. Those are all centered around either one or two characters.
It's a lot more
as opposed to an ensemble like you're talking about with Boogie Nights or definitely Magnolia. Yeah,
it would almost be the opposite in a way, because the thing that kind of built him were these 2 big ensemble movies. He doesn't have like 10 ensemble movies the way that Altman does. He has 2.
Yeah.
But in our minds, it's like that's what he does. So kind of paring it down is what he's done. He's done the opposite of,
you want him to pair it up
of like a Nolan. He hasn't gotten bigger in scope and budget and cast. He's brought it down.
It's also
to-
almost by necessity budget wise.
Yeah, because
Maybe.
that's what the industry kind of is for movies like this.
Yeah,
right?
but then all he needs is Apple or Netflix to give him $200 million, and
But he'll never do that. He'll never do that.
ooh,
No,
don't ever say
He
that,
wants the
Ryan.
Nolan. He wants the Nolan deal.
he wants the.
But he doesn't have the.
He doesn't
clout.
like streamers. He's very much. I mean, he'll find Annapurna. He'll find. If
This
it
movie,
is,
the only reason this got made
This
is
is
because of
Annapurna.
Megan Ellison.
yeah, she made
Megan
the
Ellison
next.
is
She
greatest
saved this thing.
producer of the fucking tens.
Yeah, this and Inherent Vice, which is sort of essentially was a terrible deal. I mean, like that movie made no money.
She's bad at investing, but
But
I'm really
she's
glad
also-
these movies exist.
Yeah, like she's kind of doing the streamer model. I'm going to make these really, give these auteur directors the blank checks that they want and make these movies and suffer the consequences later.
That is exactly right. Netflix and Apple are basically doing the Megan Ellison model, and it's finally starting to crumble beneath their feet.
Exactly, because they realize it's because it's not a sustainable model as opposed to the original thing. But then, like you look at Phantom Thread and Licorice Pizza, and those weren't like giant hits, but they were moderate hits enough to justify their existence. They just,
Yeah.
you know,
I don't know about that.
I mean, they didn't lose a shit ton of money.
Nobody was crying after those.
Yeah,
Okay?
no one
You
was
can't
crying.
you can't be a modest hit and not lose a lot of money. There's a chasm in there.
You're not a bomb. You're not a fucking Babylon. You know what I mean? Or so there you go. You
The
know,
Marvels.
Yeah, fucking Marvel.
Speaking of somebody who has not been able to pare down their
Well, Chazelle has done kind of the opposite trajectory. He's like bigger.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's like you should probably go smaller.
Yes, because
I like
they're getting
Babylon.
worse and worse.
You're the only one.
I like Babylon.
I don't like Babylon. I can't do it. Sorry.
Look, Hollywood stinks, but we get Avatar. You know?
There you go. Yeah, that's what a thesis.
What a beautiful encapsulation of 3 hours. I could have actually saved myself.
I mean,
all
yeah.
that time.
If I want to watch
it's
Babylon,
it's fun to watch. Too.
if I watch Babylon, I'll
Yeah.
just watch Boogie Nights because
it is a very much a Boogie Nights ripoff. But
yeah.
But we've talked about this whole series. We've been like, we don't hold it against PTA for ripping off other people.
No,
so why do
but
we have to
he's
hold
good at
against
it.
Chazelle?
But he's good at it, and I don't think Chazelle's really good at it. That's
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and be like Chazelle's one of my guys.
I
but-
know he's not.
I would have liked to see Freddie Quell in Babylon though.
Oh fuck, he would have beat that.
I would have been deep in. When
He would have been buddies with Tobey Maguire in Babylon.
I think so.
Yeah.
Those guys would have had some hooch.
They definitely
mean?
wouldn't have been adversaries. They
Drinking
would have been
paint thinner.
We haven't really talked about it, but I think we kind of really should talk about it. Just, I mean, there was this movie was kind of controversial when it came out because of the
16-year-old.
Well, no, that wasn't. Well, there was that in the film, yes, but that's also of a period. That's
the,
of
the Licorice Pizza prequel.
This
Well,
is
this is of
the
that-
start of
well-
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Listen, to be all transparent about that is what happened during that time.
I'm not even talking. I'm going to pull a Quentin Tarantino. I reject your hypothesis.
Yeah,
We're not talking about that. What
No,
is
it
your
is,
controversy that you're talking about?
no, I mean, people would go and then have a sweetheart and they come back home and age was like my grandmother was 16, 17, and my grandfather was, and it was what it was of that time.
All right. What else?
It's
do you
not
have
a
to talk
modern
about? You said,
movie.
I believe
my
you said
mother
there was
16 and my father was 26, and that
Yeah.
was in the late 60s.
Look,
Exactly.
Elvis and Priscilla.
And
There's
that's
a
what I'm
movie
saying.
that came
It's
out
like-
this year that proved to me that worked out fine.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
but no, it's a different time, different era, different values, different things. It's to put that,
That's always my least favorite excuse. That's how grandmas get to be racist.
So
It's a
what? So we're
different
supposed
time.
to put the moral objections of now.
Again,
onto a
I
movie
don't
in the
want to
past?
talk about this. Was there another thing that you were going to talk about?
Yeah, I wanted
Another
to talk about.
controversy?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the religious aspects of it and the details
Oh,
surrounding.
the Scientology.
Yeah, the
piece?
Scientology of it all. I think that is. I think it's as I know some friends of mine that had family members that were in the Church of Scientology, including his grandfather. And when I showed him this, I don't know, it was about 6-7 years ago, we watched this at my old apartment. It was a very triggering experience for them. And they were watching this movie, and we had to pause it at times and had to go into detail of how right he got it in terms of every little detail, that not just the processing, but the way in which people would recall things, or the studying, like when they're on the boat and everyone's sitting there taking notes on the headphones and everything, and the way in which the
And then he passes the note over, which is absolutely hysterical.
It's so hysterical. It's like, yeah, all I'm thinking about is sex right now. Sex and a drink, please. And I don't.
Well, it's like the Rorschach thing. What does this look like?
A cock and a pussy.
A dick, a cock going in a pussy.
Yeah, exactly. It's
And the doctor's like, Jesus Christ.
Okay,
He's
I
just
think we can
like-
skip the rest of these.
Yeah.
I had 15, but I think I get the
But
gist.
2 is good enough. You know what I mean? But no, I don't know what you guys think of it. I think it's, I mean, obviously it's the meticulous nature of Paul Thomas Anderson, but I mean, it was such a big deal and he had to defend it. There is the
Well, he had to say it wasn't so that he wouldn't get sued into oblivion,
even though it clearly is,
or murdered.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, I mean, it is. I cannot speak to any experience within the Church of Scientology. The most experience I had was that I proposed for coming in last place in a fantasy football league one year. You had to reach level 3 of Scientology. I thought that was a funny way to punish the person who came in last place in fantasy football.
How many thetans is that?
That's 17 thetans.
Got it. I just need to write that down for future.
Which is,
Eric-
it's sort of
Eric's
like,
tried-
so to get
Eric's
to
tried
level
to-
3,
Okay.
obviously you start at level 1, and then it's this progression of like first levels 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then eventually, obviously, you learn about Xenu. And let me tell you, Xenu is a chill guy.
Not quite as much as Xena, but yeah.
Jay, when do you learn about
Xenu Warrior Prince?
Jay? When in the levels do you learn about Shelley?
Oh, well, Shelley, that's even beyond going clear.
Oh, okay.
We call that going Shelley.
Oh, okay. There you go.
It's a level beyond.
Would that have been too much on the nose if he had a character named Shelley in the movie?
You
I think so. You know what? I'm going to go out on a ledge and say
Her name's not
yes.
Peggy. It's actually Shelley. Anyway, Eric, what do you think of it in the film? I mean, it's a big part of it.
as somebody who was obviously
Practicing.
super pro religion and
Well, you did try.
pro cult.
He always jokes with me when we're in LA that we're going to end up staying at a hotel at the local Church of
right
Scientology.
next to the Church of Scientology. It's me just really trying to trick you to get you in there.
You know what?
One day it'll happen and the doors will close and that's the last thing you'll ever see.
I hear they have a nice bread. I'm just
Yep. Okay, yeah. So I make no bones about my religious upbringing and that it was horrible. Also very cult-like. Jehovah's Witness is very, very insular and cult-like in terms of what you can say and believe and be friends with and how you can live your life outside of the church. And it's the only way that really these groups can have any type of control over you. So yeah, I'm always willing to love any explorations of that type of exploitation of human weakness. And when I say human weakness, like I was saying before, the idea and the desire to be in a group and a part of something is so natural. And I don't think it's always and necessarily a weakness of mind, but it is an insecurity. And as we know, insecure people are very dangerous. And I think that's what this does across its many themes extremely well, because it isn't simply religion is bad and here's why. I mean, I don't think Paul Thomas Anderson could ever be that.
This is not Adam McKay's
it is exactly
Scientology movie.
Can you imagine Adam McKay's The Master?
Well, he's got a new movie he's got to make soon because they scrapped.
This is certainly not unsympathetic towards Dodd.
No, but
I think that's always going to be the more complicated version of storytelling, is taking something that is kind of inherently known to be awful or questionable, and challenging our ability to just simply hate it because we know that we hate it, and just be more creative than that. There's nothing better than being able to be challenged by something that you have extremely strong stances in. It doesn't mean that it's changing your mind. It just means that you're seeing something a little different.
We are more similar to Lancaster Dodd than we would like to admit.
Sure.
There's a little bit of Lancaster Dodd in all of us, or Freddie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I think of you talk about insecurities, Eric, but the scene for me that Jay, I always go back to about Dodd's insecurities is when the second book is released and they're at the party and Dern is coming up to him and asking him questions,
Ellen,
asking him
the
questions,
harbinger of doom.
harbinger of doom, asking her questions about phrasing and the new way.
What is it?
and
It's
things-
remember versus imagine. I believe
no, it's
is
imagine
is the
versus
dilemma.
remember. It's imagine versus remember. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, and
He changes it to imagine. Yeah.
yeah, it's how angry he gets. It's the first bout of anger we've
What do
seen
you
him
want?
have. Yep, since the pig fuck scene, and this insecurity of anyone questioning a belief system, anyone questioning my belief system, anyone questioning what I am building, and just the fascination too of it is a religion on the run that we don't really actually talk about. It's moving from a boat to a small house to little apartments to this big house that they're invited to London, not even in America anymore, like hiding from either the authorities or the people they've burned along the way. It's hiding from the critics essentially of the book, and any naysayers, because news won't travel. I guess
Not
nearly
good
as
business.
it's not good business. I mean, I think that's really fascinating. But then you start talking about ideology. Earlier, Eric, we were talking about that and how you're listening to Dodd, and throughout this whole movie, I think that this is actually one of the funniest moments in the film for me. And I laughed really hard last night when I was on the rewatch, was when Freddie goes home and Doris has found a new love and moved on with her life and everything because he's forgotten her and she's kind of had to move on from him. And he's in the movie theater and the guy just randomly walks up with the telephone, almost like just some random guy that would be in Scientology, and hands him the telephone. And he goes, I miss you, from Dodd. And he goes, how the hell did you find me? And then he says, we're connected. And you almost then believe, well, we're made to believe that all this stuff that he says is shit. But then how the hell could he have found him so quick like that? Or is it that he
That's
knew that he
again
would go
that
home, or
break of reality of the movie?
exactly? It's so fascinating, and how they connect on what is it? There's not connection over philosophy or music or anything. It's cigarettes, booze, women, sin. They connect over sin, essentially. And I find that ultimately really fascinating about them. It's like when Freddie hands him the bundled up package of the 4 cases of Cools, and there's that smile, but Peggy's sitting right over there, and he goes, oh shit, let me just take these and put them in the drawer. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
think
fun's
about
over.
how awful it is. He goes all the way to England, has one conversation with this guy. He sings him a stupid song, and then he's like, "Bye."
Well, then he
Peace.
did go have
My
sex
wife
with,
doesn't like you.
Oh yeah,
Sorry, you made the trip.
well, yes, but he had wasn't there like a choice? He could have stayed, or was it?
I mean, he could have stayed, but he wasn't going to stay there for the purpose that he went there for.
No, he's going to basically be a guinea pig again.
He was he was brought there on what ended up being false pretenses, for sure.
Exactly.
And then he finally finds a woman who he meets organically, and he tries to flip it around on her. It's this cycle.
Yeah.
But he also clearly has a true admiration for this woman, and it's almost like, I love you so much. Don't you want to feel the way that I felt when I was with Dodd?
Don't you want to feel what it's like to be my best friend now?
You're the greatest woman I ever met, or something. Isn't that what he says at the end?
These two guys, they just love each other.
Because she's the person who's there in front of him at the moment, who actually cares for him for the first time. And he feels as if he is lying next to that woman in the sand, who is the green light across the bay that he's striving for.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go. Gatsby. What Gatsby? Yeah,
I don't. Wow.
That's
Okay.
pretty good. That's pretty good, Jay.
I was gonna say that's not really a reach. Damn it. I like that.
Yeah. All right.
How can I undercut myself?
Say something stupid.
You gotta just
Cormac McCarthy.
He's dead. I miss him every day.
I know you do. Just like these two bastards miss each other. The bro.
I miss
culture,
Philip Seymour Hoffman so much, man.
I'm telling you, every time I watch this movie, I'm like, God, what a fucking actor. I mean, he was my favorite.
It doesn't matter.
He was my favorite actor. He was my favorite actor growing
I
up.
watch Along Came Polly, and I'm like,
oh my God.
Man. Maybe if we had Philip Seymour Hoffman, we'd still make comedies.
Listen, I think Flawless is a top tier Hoffman.
Oh, really?
Yes, I do.
It's kind of some people are a little controversial there.
Like, I give a fuck about that.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I think he is incredible.
Would you say he's
absolutely fantastic in it?
Would you say he's
it's not a great movie? It's a stupid movie, but
Erik, would you say he's flawless?
Enough.
Okay. Sorry.
Enough.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's
where are we at on Capote? His win.
I understand why he won for it.
He's third best of the nominees and the second best Capote that year.
I'm glad that Philip Seymour Hoffman has an Oscar.
I probably put him 4.
Yeah, I know you. I figured you'd be one of those kind of people.
What?
That would be like, didn't deserve it, but glad you have one.
Yeah. Well, I
feel that about plenty.
Well, I
of
think that if he doesn't win for Capote, he's going to win here, because that was that year where everybody had the Oscar.
Yeah, that was a funny year, and that the nomination announcement, he has won here before.
Exactly. No, for sure. But yeah, I probably put him 4 in that year, because I put it as Terrence Howard, Hustle and Flow, and then
I don't understand how you guys just recall this off the top.
And then it's Philip Seymour Hoffman for Capote. That's where I put it. And then 3 would be Joaquin Phoenix for Walk the Line. I think Joaquin's really good in that movie. And then 2 would be Heath Ledger. And then I would.
You're one of those.
I love David Strathairn in Good Night and Good Luck. I love that movie.
No, it's Ledger, Strathairn.
Bad talk me. You're just flipping. You're just flipping.
Hoffman, Phoenix, Howard.
Yeah, at least.
But actually, I think Phoenix and Hoffman, I could kind of.
You can interchange them.
Move around a little bit, because I think there's more in Phoenix's interpretation than there is in Hoffman's impression.
Yes, that's exactly. Yeah. It's
a
performance rather than a skit.
Yeah, I don't think Hoffman does enough to be an interpretive performance. Yeah, which is kind of unusual for him.
I just think Miller gets better as a director the next 2 films, also for me. So with Moneyball and Foxcatcher,
I like Capote a lot. Clifton Collins is fantastic.
Catherine Keener is really great too.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
But anyway,
yeah. Well, I don't want to badmouth Hoffman now, as we're talking about him and missing him.
I would also. I'm
just looking at his filmography, just the best
bangers, absolute bangers.
He does do like mincy gay like really really well though.
Yeah, and he's great.
This Flawless and Talented Mr. Ripley is just like, it's my favorite type of Hoffman performance, which is well, I mean, totally different, because in those 3 he's above everybody else. He's very
chest forward.
Then I like Sad Sack Synecdoche PSH.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I mean, the range is insane.
He was the best. He was the best. I loved him. He was my favorite actor, and he even made performances and stuff in like The Hunger Games bearable. Like, I was like, holy shit! Like, he can take schlock and make it good. He really could. Even like
we are coming up on 10 years really soon, February.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know who's good in Hunger Games? The Tooch.
Yeah, well, the Tooch is great in everything.
Yeah,
Jeffrey Wright too. There's a lot of great character actors in that.
Tucci's basically doing a Hoffman performance. So.
Exactly. All right, Jay.
Yes.
Before we get out of here,
let's do it.
We're going to test your award season knowledge based on the film we just reviewed, which is The Master. In a segment we like to call
sidebar. It is so hard to do this podcast and not talk specifically about the awards trajectory that the films that we talk about.
Everybody's allowed to do it because you're allowed to do it to everything.
I do it to protect you, Jay.
The sanctity of it's an honor to get nominated, the greatest segment in podcasting.
I love it. Just had to say that.
Okay, thank you. In a segment we like to call It's an Honor to Get Nominated. Thank you very much. I just had to finish it. The listeners would have got really mad. Jay, what? I think I already spoiled it, at least for Hoffman, so you know this was nominated for at least one. What other Oscars or Oscar was this movie nominated for?
Let's see, this one I honestly don't have a great grasp on. I had a better hold on There Will Be Blood, even though I didn't.
I hope you're not grasping anything that's inappropriate.
So this was expanded field. This was post Dark Knight.
Yes.
I'm going to say it got in for pick. I don't know that for sure.
That's incorrect.
It didn't get pick?
No. You gotta remember it was also the sliding scale, so there was the 10 to
yeah. So it's expanded, but not necessarily all the way expanded.
Some horse shit.
Okay, so if it didn't get pick, it didn't get director.
Correct. It didn't.
It got screenplay.
You'd think, but no.
It didn't get a screenplay nomination.
No.
That's where they give credit to weird movies like this. It is
a horrific blind spot from this year. It is absolute. If you're not going to nominate this movie and other things, you've got to nominate the screenplay. It's but it didn't happen.
It is absolute banana pants tomfuckery. It is ridiculous.
All right,
especially
now I'm thinking like, did it get anything else other than Hoffman, who was erroneously put in supporting? I believe. I think I do remember that.
That is correct.
He was a co-lead.
Co-ish.
I think he's a co-lead. Am I wrong?
I think it's Freddie's movie. But
it's Freddie's movie, but they're co-leads.
Yeah, I think you're wrong.
I think that
you think he's full on supporting.
I think that
he's a perfect supporting.
Interesting.
Perfect.
Yeah.
He drives so much of the movie, though. He's not the POV, but
Jay, do you want to know what did get nominated in the original?
We can do that in a second. We can do that in a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not trying to take.
We'll do that. We'll do that when we go.
Why don't you slow your roll, Anderson?
Okay. I mean, based on that, normally there's a trickle down to the text. I'm gonna. Did it get score?
No, it did not.
Do you realize we didn't even talk about the score this entire time?
We didn't talk about the score this entire time. We'll talk about that in a minute.
The whole time, which also is
lot of wood
integral to the opening of the film.
Yes.
To be like, oh shit, I'm
bum,
in.
Bum, bum. Very much the opposite of There Will Be Blood. Bum, bum, bum. The master. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Of puppets.
You just made it sound like it was a musical.
The master.
Lancaster Dodd, he is my God. Oh, Lancaster Dodd.
Oh my God.
Give me your hooch.
God. You came way too easy to that, Jay.
Wait, give me your hooch.
One of my many talents is coming up with a song on the spot.
It really is. Give me a Peggy song.
Oh, Peggy is here. Peggy is here. She's the real master. It's so clear. Speaking of clear, we're gonna go so clear because the cause is here to stay.
There you go. See, he's got a million of them, folks.
This is better than Mark Wahlberg in Boogie Nights.
There you go. Oh, when he's doing the single, the sound.
Yeah, so I love it. I'm here for it.
Oh my God. All right.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it got nominated for nothing else.
You're incorrect. You're wrong. He got nominated for 3 Academy Awards. Best Actor for Joaquin Phoenix, Best Supporting Actor for Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Best Supporting Actress for Amy Adams. That's it. The 3 acting Oscars, and that
This was my biggest whiff so far on this segment.
It really was. You really just
maybe my favorite movie we've ever
really
covered.
Screwed the pooch.
I whiffed.
It got a ton. It got like Golden Globe nominated. It got the same 3 Golden Globes. It got a ton of Critics' Choice nominations. I don't think it got anything. It got.
I mean, it's a weird movie.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was the only
SAG.
He was the only one to get SAG. Yeah.
Yeah.
BAFTA got in for it got all 3 of the actors and original screenplay at BAFTA.
Yeah.
The nominations.
And Writers Guild.
Yeah, it was fucking bullshit. Jay, would you like me to read you the best original screenplay nominees?
Yeah, I'm sure they're all better than The Master.
So the best original screenplay winner was Django Unchained from Quentin Tarantino, obviously. Michael Haneke for Amour. John Gaddens for Flight. Roman Coppola and Wes Anderson for Moonrise Kingdom.
Flight?
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes. Moonrise Kingdom. And Mark Bowl for Zero Dark 30.
Go back and watch the nomination announcement from that morning and listen to the
Was that the TED morning?
When Flight is announced. Listen to them. It's bizarre, but the love for that screenplay was very real. It was wrong, but it was real.
What were the best picture noms this year?
Well, the best picture nominees for the year 2012, obviously, of course. The winner was Argo, or better known as Argo Fuck Yourself.
I'm going to say this. I think The Master is better than Argo.
Well, that's very controversial, Jay. Thank you for putting that, being so brave.
So brave. So brave of you to say that.
I try to be. Amour.
Sorry for speaking my truth. Right, better than Amour.
Beasts of the Southern Wild.
Better.
Django and yeah, it is. Beasts of the Southern Wild is a terrible movie. We all know it.
Holy shit.
Has been, always will be. 10-year anniversary coming up.
More like Lease of the Southern Wild.
Yeah.
Welcome to both of y'all's last day.
Yeah. Django.
I remember my first Malick movie, Beast of the Southern Wild.
Oh my, he's not wrong. Django Unchained.
Okay, better than that.
Better. Les Miserables.
You know what?
No, The Master's still better.
I'll give it up. Les Mis Master, more like Les Masterpiece.
Oh God. All right. Anyway, Life of Pi.
I mean, what are we doing, folks?
Here we go. I'm still going. Lincoln.
I mean, I like Lincoln, but
I know. Silver Linings Playbook.
I mean, I like that movie more than most people again, but get out of here.
And Zero Dark 30.
I like Zero Dark 30.
It's a terrible lineup. Like it just hasn't aged well. It's not bad. Actually, I shouldn't say terrible, but it's just like
there's some
decent stuff.
Yeah, that's what it is. As the kids of Erik's generation would say, it's mid.
It's mid.
Yes.
No cap. It's mid.
No cap. It's mid.
Now, would you guys take Daniel Day-Lewis's 3rd Oscar out of his hand and give it to Joaquin Phoenix?
No,
I would not.
Really? You wouldn't give Joaquin this Oscar?
No.
No.
See, I totally would.
I'll give it to Danny D.
If giving it to him prevented Joker, yes. If we're talking about a like would I kill baby Hitler kind of way, yeah. Yeah. If I could ensure that one thing stopped another.
Well, you were around during World War II. You should have done that already, Erik. Like, come on.
I tried. Do you not think that I tried?
It was what is it? It was the things in your shin that have prevented you from getting into the army, right? You had like shin splints or something like that. Anyway, just like the former president. No, I would have easily given it to Joaquin Phoenix. And I would have given Amy Adams the Oscar.
You would give it to easily over DDL and Lincoln?
Yeah, I would.
DDL's pretty good in Lincoln.
I would give, there's a movie we're going to review in 2 weeks that I would give Daniel Day-Lewis his 3rd Oscar for.
Well, and Denzel did play an alcoholic pilot.
Yeah, he turned it upside down. But you know
He
what?
was
He
like,
didn't.
what if Freddie Quill flew a plane?
But you know what? He's no Sully. He's no
Flight's a
Sully.
bad movie.
Flight's a bad movie.
Yeah, Flight's a terrible movie.
Sully's
Bad
not.
movie.
Sully's good. I like Sully.
Anyway,
I would give Amy Adams the Oscar as well over Anne Hathaway.
You would give Amy Adams the Oscar.
Over
I
Anne
like her more than everybody else that was nominated. I agree with you.
this is a pretty bleak lineup.
Yeah, Helen Hunt.
This is bad. That's a bad lineup.
Yeah, Helen Hunt, Jackie Weaver, terrible. Sally Field, great. I'll never say no to a Sally Field nomination, but she's okay.
She's just got that one scene where she tells off the Tommy Lee Jones, and that's it.
Well, Anne Hathaway has one scene and won her the Oscar.
Yeah, and that was sympathy from James Franco, which I understand. She's not good
Anne
in that
Hathaway
movie.
had this Oscar sewn up the moment that
Absolutely.
in March when her casting was announced.
But I would never give this supporting actor. I would give it to Hoffman. I wouldn't even nominate Waltz. It's the wrong performance in Django to get nominated. It should have been Leonardo DiCaprio.
1,000% yes.
Either Leo or Sam Jackson. Those are the two supporting performances from Django Unchained that should have got nominated. Christoph Waltz is a lead in that movie, for Christ's sake. It's ridiculous.
He is, but the difference between what I feel Hoffman is, and I don't even know who my second would be because I don't care about most of these performances. There isn't even a second.
No, there isn't. No, maybe. God, it's bleak. Really is a bleak lineup.
I think Bobby D is good in Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh, you like Bobby D?
He's fine.
I think he's been better since.
Well, yeah. Doesn't mean he's not good.
I mean, he's good. I wouldn't give him like an Oscar good.
He cries in it.
I mean, like, good for him. They had garlic on the set. Like, I don't know what to say.
Slow clap. What do you
want? That's Ryan. You're saying they had garlic on the set because he's
a vampire?
Italian?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Ryan.
Why would an Italian cry at garlic?
Good grief.
I mean,
what are you trying to say?
I don't know. It's pungent.
Let's get out of this spiral real quick.
You know what?
Yep. Who wrote this script? Apple?
It always gets really derailed at the end of these podcasts when we're
I would give it a nomination for picture, director, screenplay, actor, supporting actor, if we're gonna put PSH in supporting actor. Supporting actress, cinematography,
score,
editing, score, production design, costuming
design.
Production design by Jack
Fisk. The Fisk
I think
Meister.
he's good at his job.
Yeah, you know that Jack Fisk. Oh, Jack Fisk, that fucker.
Jay,
what else is there?
You need a whole separate podcast that's just you called I think he's good at his job.
Yeah, it would be just me talking about Jack Fisk and Michael Mann movies.
The whole time.
I don't think you want to give him that power. It's kind of dangerous. It's kind of dangerous.
It does seem like a questionable choice now.
Yeah, I think you need to retract that statement. I'll edit it out. Don't worry about that. Yeah, there's like an original song in here somewhere. I would have nominated it for anything. It's so fucking good.
Nobel Peace Prize.
But yeah, that score.
Nobel
That score
Prize for chemistry.
I think it's so crazy that nobody talks about. I think with all the great Greenwood scores, we kind of forget about how wonderful this one is.
I would have actually not given a turkey the pardon on Thanksgiving this year and given it to the master, the presidential pardon.
Yeah.
Kids' Choice Award.
I also would have given it a Kennedy Center
I would have
honor.
slimed Paul Thomas Anderson at the Kids' Choice Awards.
James Taylor come out and sing a song. It would have been great. Nobel Peace Prize to Lancaster Dodd, fictional character. That's for sure.
I would have played this at the in memoriam segment at the Oscars as just a way of recognizing that you'll never get to see it for the first time again, which is a sad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And played it in 70 millimeters, so then everybody can experience that. That's for sure. All right, Erik, thank you so much for coming on.
This is fun.
Can you tell everybody out there where they can find you and all your work? It's just something we say about everybody, but I mean,
I know,
it's
but
kind of
I feel
arbitrary
special.
for you. Well, I
I
mean,
know. I love
special,
it.
special something. All right.
Special. Yes, you can find me at awardswatch.com where you can find this lovely podcast. It is, I don't know what time this is being released. When is this coming out?
Next week.
Next week. Well, we will be knee deep in so much awards coverage. It will be absolutely blinding. But in a good way, like in a really, like, you know,
Like an I lost my glasses in the middle of the night sort of way.
kind of way.
Yeah.
Really good way.
Yeah.
Yes, awardswatch.com. Please come visit. Please subscribe to our newsletter, which I put out sometimes 2 times a week, if you're lucky.
Filling up my inbox.
Yeah, I do, because I do also resend to non-openers, and specifically to Jay Ledbetter, like 3 times a day.
Yep.
I really need the validation, is what I'm saying.
Yep. Hey, I read it. It's a good newsletter.
Shit. Oh, okay. Right on.
There you go. Jay, where can we find all your work? And also give us your recommendation.
Yeah, you can find me swabbing the deck of the Alethea in San Francisco.
Alicia.
I do that.
Yeah, this is also a San Francisco movie, so of course we had to have Erik on too.
Let me tell you, when the boat goes underneath the Golden Gate,
so do you.
It's a moment for me. I'm telling you.
Calm down.
You can also find me. I'm leading with Letterboxd. J Ledbetter on Letterboxd. Twitter at Mr. J Ledbetter. Not to brag, I'll have a review on awardswatch.com by the time this releases for a little film called The Iron Claw. So check that one out.
You worked?
What else have I got? Movie recommendation.
Yeah, buddy.
Man, it's, we're still deep in awards season. I'll say, you know what? I liked movie I didn't call out by name, but mentioned briefly earlier. Priscilla, very good film. Sofia Coppola. I think she's good at her job. I'll be honest.
She's pretty good
at her job.
There you go.
And other than that, catch me on the mean streets of Atlanta.
Oh, for God's sake. Just come give him a high five. Right?
Meet me at the Trap House.
There you go. All right.
Holy shit.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, or Ryan McQuade77. You can find all my work here at awardswatch.com. If you like podcasts, also listen to the Awards Watch podcast that we release every Monday. iTunes, Spotify, 5-star reviews. We'd love to hear and read all those again, because Erik already said it, but I usually always say it because he's not here. Go sign up for the newsletter. When he remembers and has a cup of coffee every Wednesday and Friday, he sends out the letter, and it's usually pretty good. Well, what else? My recommendation, see a movie called May December that we're going to talk about here. You
know what? I want to give a shout out. I'm going to interrupt Ryan here.
Thank you.
As usual. And okay. I'm going to say, you know what? A movie I finally caught up with during award season, lesser known. I really loved You Hurt My Feelings from Nicole Holofcener. I thought it was a very insightful, very funny movie. So go check that one out. Smaller movie from a while ago, but that one's really good. Ryan, you can continue.
Thank you, sir. I would like to say that we will be talking about May December soon as a bonus episode here for Director Watch, because of our first series that we did to start all this, which was the films with Todd Haynes. We might have a guest or two.
The grill. It's hot dog time.
Yeah, it's hot dog season, baby. And what do you like on a hot dog, Jay?
You know what? I'm pretty vanilla when it comes to hot dogs.
Okay.
Just give me some ketchup, some mustard. If I'm feeling real saucy, throw a little chili dog on there.
Little chili dog.
But really, I'm just plain Jane when it comes to a dog.
Okay, Erik, hot dog.
I'm of 2 minds of a hot dog.
We've run out of time. Unfortunately, we're not able to.
I knew it.
This. No, I'm just kidding. Go right on ahead and do it.
We have a classic place here in the Bay Area called Casper's, which is thankfully still around. They've been around for like 60 years.
Are they friendly?
And yes.
Okay.
It was of course founded by Casper, who at this point is in fact a friendly ghost.
Thank you very much.
But they kept its name.
So the classic Casper dog is only white onions, sliced tomato,
Ooh.
and mustard. That's it. That's all it is.
Ooh,
So, and I will, when I'm there, I go like only for that because it's their thing. Outside of that, I pile on as many
peppers,
pickles, relish, peppers, hot sauce, no ketchup because ketchup is the devil's jizz. And
that's fair. It
mustard,
is red.
mayonnaise. Yeah. So yeah,
I don't like this.
I will mile high that.
But
you don't you like the devil's jizz? I think you do.
Just don't open up. Hey, don't open up. Both of you, don't open up that avenue.
Space.
Don't open up that avenue.
Get thee behind me, Satan. That's what I'll say to that.
That's how you get that devil's jizz.
Okay, all right. Mustard in a
maybe I won't have that review next week.
Mustard in a spicy relish is what I like.
Spicy.
Yeah, I like a jalapeno relish.
I do like an onion on there,
like an onion,
a little grilled
like
onion.
I do,
like some grilled onion on there.
Yeah, ooh,
I could put it. I
could peppers.
Put an entire jar of jalapenos on that, or even better, just like raw.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's what I would do. Anyway, we'll have May December coming soon, but go see it. Phenomenal film. We've been quoted all over the place about it.
There's some pretty cute interviews. If you want to check that out on the AwardsWatch YouTube with Julianne Moore, Natalie Portman, Charles Melton, and Todd Haynes.
And I also have an interview up on the website with the writer of the film, Sammy Birch.
Fabulous interview.
Thank you very much.
It's pretty cool how people are now saying that Natalie Portman is bad at her job.
But she's great at her job, and they can all go fuck themselves. We'll talk about that on the show. Okay. I think on that one. Next week's episode, we'll be talking about Inherent Vice and whatever the fuck that movie is. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.